Right now at 10, more rain this week leading to more flooding in southwestern Wisconsin. A look at the damage straight ahead.
And a sneak peek inside DeForest's new Fleet Farm a day before its grand opening.
This is News 3 at 10.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We do have some breaking news right now. A plan to update Dane County's jail facilities has hit yet another bump in the road.
News 3 confirms that the $75 million plan to build a new jail on top of the public safety building is not possible. Sheriff Dave Mahoney says adding the additional floors could cause the building to tip during, quote, 90-mile-hour winds. County officials now plan to build an entirely new tower behind the public safety building, currently a parking lot. Mahoney says it will be about the same height as the courthouse and says it will house the jail and mental health facilities. It'll be about the same square footage as the previous design. Under the new plan, the jail will open in 2020 instead of 2019.
To our other top story, the rainy weather led to considerable flooding in western parts of our state. News 3's Keely Arthur takes a closer look at some of the hard-hit areas in Lafayette County.
I'm okay with quiet. Truthfully, I am.
But lately, this hometown girl has found her typically quiet Darlington.
There's not any camping these days.
Much more post-worthy.
They often ask, how's the river? What's the river like?
Thanks to Mother Nature.
You know, flooding in the spring and flooding in the summer and now flooding here. And I was actually going to look back and see how many times I've posted pictures on Facebook that it flooded this year. You know, and I'm thinking we're at least 3 or 4.
The big Facebook fan also witnessed posts from other people living further east of her, hit hardest by the flooding this summer.
It's kind of an unprecedented year for flooding all over the state.
We got a lot less rain than what they got in Dane County, so we escaped almost unscathed from that the last time in August.
This time, though, Lafayette County isn't so lucky. Sheriff Reg Gale says steady rain oversaturated the earth, leaving it nowhere to go. Now several roads, including County Roads G and K and other roads near Highway 11, are shut down. Firefighters successfully rescued one woman from her car on K this morning, but authorities say all the areas suffering right now are known flood zones, like the fairgrounds.
I certainly grew up around the fairgrounds and familiar with this place flooding, and I think we have flooding pictures back from many floods previous.
And west of the fairgrounds, it's the same story. You can see this campground is now overrun as water continues to flow out of the Pecatonica River, reaching these campground markers and signs, and levels are expected to only rise.
The ground is so saturated, it doesn't take as much rain, and pretty soon the river is going to be up some more.
A situation Irma certainly plans to monitor through the lens of her cell phone, hoping, though, that her feed isn't overrun with a fresh batch of flood photos anytime soon.
I have posted more flooding pictures than any other year.
In Darlington, Keely Arthur, WISC News 3.
While there are no injuries or structure damage to report, authorities say they are concerned about farmers in the county who are now harvesting their crops.
In Madison, city engineers are watching lake levels after the rain earlier this week for potential flooding and street closures. According to City Alder Liddell Zellers, the city engineering department says the water levels have not yet peaked this time around, but if the levels rise another inch or two, that could cause closures on East Johnson Strait. Let's get an update on our forecast. Here's Chief Meteorologist Gary Canaldi. Gary?
Well, Charlotte, we do have an alert day in the forecast for tomorrow. Not so much for heavy rain, but the possibility for some severe weather. In fact, that alert day mainly for tomorrow evening, high winds and hail the main threats, but the fast movement of the thunderstorms will limit the rainfall to just brief bursts of heavy rain and probably not going to contribute much to additional flooding. Tonight, there's some light showers moving across Wisconsin. A couple of thunderstorms will eventually develop across Iowa and move into southern Wisconsin overnight. Now, tomorrow, the severe weather outlook has a slight risk of severe weather across much of southern Wisconsin, much of the northern part of the state under an enhanced risk of severe weather for the possibility for a few tornadoes as well as damaging straight line winds. Low temperatures this morning started out in the lower 50s here in Madison, upper 40s to the north. High temperatures so far have been in the mid 50s. Milwaukee topped out at 60. A few places out west were in the upper 50s. Current temperatures are still in the middle 50s, but those temperatures will hold steady or slowly rise overnight. And you can see those winds now out of the southeast, that as a warm front starts to head in our direction. So by tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to already be in the lower 60s. Look for a variably cloudy day tomorrow. Just a slight chance for a shower or thunderstorm late in the afternoon. Our high temperature at 79. The severe weather risk more for tomorrow evening. That's your first alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. Vice President Mike Pence coming to Wisconsin next week for a pair of events to raise money for Governor Scott Walker. The vice president scheduled to host fundraisers in Green Bay and Eau Claire October 10th, just a month before the election. He was last in Wisconsin in late August when he held a fundraiser for a Republican U.S. Senate candidate, Leah Buchmeier. State senators plan to return to the Capitol next month to vote on providing tax incentives to Kimberly Clark.
Governor Walker and Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald announced the extraordinary session this morning. Walker wants lawmakers to approve a tax incentive package that could cost up to $100 million. It's designed to keep the Kimberly Clark plant in Fox Crossing open. The state assembly passed the bill earlier this year, so it would only have to pass the state Senate. But Democrats say the Senate doesn't have the votes to pass it. Governor Walker says he hopes they will put politics aside.
And Democrats say that you don't have the votes?
We don't. That's no shock. I don't know, act like it's surprising. We don't, because no Democrat has publicly said they'd vote for it.
This could have been solved and should have been solved months ago. Kimberly Clark and its difficulties in surviving are not a new issue.
Kimberly Clark gave the state a deadline of September 30th to pass this deal, but Governor Walker says that deadline has been extended. Lawmakers plan to come back to the Capitol to vote on the plan a week after the November election.
Next at 10, a woman in the hospital tonight after police say a man attempted to kill her on Beloit's east side. Police say last night, 29-year-old Jonathan Castro attempted to strangle and beat a woman with a hammer while the two were in his Beloit home. Castro, who is now in police custody, could face up to 6 separate charges, including first-degree attempted homicide. The woman, who police are not naming, was taken to the hospital in Janesville with a skull fracture. 3 students at a Madison high school are facing tentative charges of disorderly conduct after a fight happened yesterday. It injured the school's resource officer. 1 student also facing charges of battery, potentially suspicion of battery after inadvertently punching a school official. It happened about 8:30 in the morning between several girls. Police say West's resource officer suffered a broken hand while breaking up that fight.
A former Madison police officer will be sentenced in December for drunk driving charges. Kelly Heft pleaded guilty today to first offense OWI with a passenger under the age of 16. According to court documents, her blood alcohol content was at 0.27, and she had a child in the back seat. Her sentencing is scheduled for December 7th. OSHA is fining a northern Wisconsin oil refinery company more than $83,000 after an explosion there in April. 11 employees were hurt at Husky Energy in Superior. The fine is for failing to control the use and release of hazardous chemicals.
A new study finds less than half of Wisconsin students are performing above average on standardized tests like the Wisconsin Forward Exam and the ACT. That research conducted by the Department of Public Instruction. It finds that racial disparities and socioeconomic issues were among some of the most staggering numbers when it comes to student success. We spoke with Marshall Public School District Superintendent after finding out it was the lowest ranking district in Dane County. He says he is unhappy with the numbers and remains focused on taking active measures to improve in the next year, but says standardized tests are not the only measure of success in their district.
Data that's being reported is real. Students took assessments. Marshall had low success areas. Yet we also look at attendance. We also look at student satisfaction surveys.
For a full list of the schools, how they performed this past school year on those tests, everything broken down by age, subject, county, and percentiles. You can find that information on our website, channel3000.com. The newest Fleet Farm store will open tomorrow in DeForest.
Today, they had a sneak peek for friends and family. Amy Reed joins us now to tell us about the expected economic impact. Amy?
Yeah, the company told me DeForest is the fastest growing area of Dane County, and the growing number of people there have been asking for this store for 10 years. Now the wait is almost over.
I just don't know where to go.
Mayor Banuelos almost doesn't know where to start.
Yes, jeans.
First with jeans.
I'm trying to put them back nicely for Lori here, since she set it up so nicely.
Then
let's go for a spin.
Maybe over to shirts.
Good comp witches.
It's just she's never felt like a VIP before.
I don't think I can wear it to work though.
But today, she is one.
Anybody here like to hunt or fish? Camp? Anybody here have a sweet tooth? The good news is all of you are going to find a corner of this store you'll fall in love with.
Fleet Farm welcomed in hundreds of their friends and family to have a look around the store before anyone else. That meant a brief history lesson.
Back then, we had a very sophisticated way to pick stores. We drove out into a field, parked, and we counted the number of cars. Sorry, cows. More cows, bigger store. No cows, no store.
The CEO said this store added between 150 and 200 jobs to the area, but it was also something the people here have wanted. He said he's gotten letters from people here over the past 10 years asking for it to be built. And that's too long, he said, especially with how perfect, he said, DeForest is for Fleet Farm.
We pick stores based on how we feel will fit with the community. We look for places that love the outdoors, we look for places that love the seasons, and that like to spend time with their families. And we kind of felt DeForest was a perfect fit on that front.
That's just fine for Mare, because now she has matching shirts for girls' night.
We have to match.
And that's even before she's hit the rest of the store.
Okay, now where are we going? Oh, appliances.
The store has a soft opening tomorrow, but their grand opening is Saturday. They said they're planning activities for kids and adults, and they said in addition to having a new store here, they really just want to be part of the community.
A busy weekend ahead for them.
Yeah.
Amy Reed reporting tonight. Amy, thank you.
Still to come tonight at 10, a big name performer coming to the Sylvie, fitting for fall in Wisconsin.
And why doctors say if you think you have a penicillin allergy, you may want to be reevaluated.
Welcome back. Penicillin allergies are the most commonly reported drug allergy in the country.
But most of the people who think they're allergic actually aren't. About 10% of the population believes they're allergic to penicillin, but experts say about 90% of those people can actually take penicillin with no issue. For those who think they're allergic, it's more difficult to treat infections and more expensive.
Sinus infections, ear infections, pneumonias, bladder infections, skin infections, anything you can name of, usually a penicillin is going to be a preferred option.
SSM Health is encouraging patients to get tested. The allergy clinic begins by testing diluted penicillin on the skin of your arm, then testing a couple stronger amounts. It takes about 2 hours to complete. Amazon is raising the minimum wage for all of its 250,000 workers. The company is bumping it up to $15 an hour, giving many employees up to $5 an hour more. The raise also applies to workers at Amazon-owned Whole Foods. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour.
This year's World Dairy Expo is off and running at the Alliant Energy Center. You can expect this year's expo to include informational seminars on key issues for dairy farmers, including how to approach the record low milk prices, tariffs, and uncertainty with foreign markets. There will be competitions outside the cattle and trade shows and social and business opportunities as well. World Dairy Expo runs through Saturday. Tickets $12 for a day, $35 for the week. Smashing Pumpkins will be performing at Madison's newest music venue next month. The band kicking off a winter North American leg of its 30th anniversary and reunion tour at the Sylvie November 28th. In 1990, the Smashing Pumpkins recorded their first album, Gish, at the former Smart Studios on Madison's Near East Side. The group has not performed here, though, since the 1990s. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joins us now with a look at the forecast. And a lot of people are not happy about this rain.
We don't want any more
Right.
rain for, how many times have we been saying that,
I know.
over the last month and a half? But that's the pattern we're in. So I don't think the rain is going to be excessive, at least in the short term, but we might have a threat for some severe weather tomorrow afternoon. Now, or actually more tomorrow evening, late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Now, on Doppler track, just a few light showers moving through the area tonight, not even seeing any flashes of lightning yet. There'll probably be some thunderstorms developing out of this area of showers across parts of central Iowa by the time those showers reach us later on tonight. But this is actually the leading edge of the warmer air lifting northward. And tomorrow, you can see the severe weather outlook has a slight risk of severe thunderstorms through much of southern Wisconsin. To the north, there's an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms over much of the central and northern portions of the state. Now, this area could see a few isolated tornadoes. There might also be a squall line of thunderstorms that develops and then sweeps southeastward, bringing the potential for a little more widespread wind damage with that line of storms to our north and west. By the time the storms get to the Madison area, probably be mid to late evening. The storms will be weakening a little bit, but should they move in a little bit earlier, the potential is there for a little better chances for severe weather. As far as the precipitation potential, it looks like the models are just updating, but it looks like an area, and this is through Friday, 6 p.m., probably about 1 to 1.5 inches of rain possible south of Madison, especially in some of those heavier thunderstorms. This takes into account the rain that will fall late tonight, tomorrow night, and then again on Thursday night and Friday. So we do have an alert day in the forecast for tomorrow, mainly tomorrow evening, with the threat for some severe weather, high winds, hail, perhaps some brief heavy rain as those storms roll on through. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. Pretty quiet out there right now. It is a little humid. Our high today only made it up to 56 after starting out at 51, and right now we're at 54 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, but the winds are now shifting to the southeast and eventually will shift around to the south. Those temperatures will actually start rising. By tomorrow morning, we'll probably be in the lower 60s already. And you can see how far away those 60-degree temperatures are. Not that far to our south, and with the winds out of the south and southeast, that will start these temperatures warming up late tonight, and tomorrow we'll look for high temperatures perhaps close to 80 degrees. Here are the winds, mainly from the southeast now, but notice out to the west, they're more of a southerly direction, and that's just on the other side of a warm front. Upper level winds, though, coming from west to east. So southerly winds near the ground, upper level winds from west to east. That creates wind shear and could bring the potential for some severe weather as the storms start to break out ahead of a cold front. Still well to our north and west. Here's the front, but as it moves southeastward into that warmer and more humid air by tomorrow afternoon, that's when we'll see storms develop to our north and west. They'll reach us tomorrow evening. evening. Current temperatures are in the 50s here. On the other side of that cold front, temperatures in the 30s, and there's some snow expected over parts of North Dakota late tomorrow into tomorrow night. 53 for the low, that's about where we are now, and then temperatures rising overnight. Slight chance for a shower or thunderstorm overnight. Tomorrow's high 79 as we see some breaks in the clouds. Just a slight chance of a thunderstorm late in the day. So there's the little chance for showers and thunderstorms tonight. Much of the day dry tomorrow and some breaks in the clouds. Temperatures upper 70s, low 80s. Here comes that line of storms sweeping on through tomorrow evening. We clear out tomorrow night. The wind shift around to the north, and the temperatures cool off. Only 50s for high temperatures on Thursday. Again, those rainfall amounts probably in the 1 to 1.5 inch range to our south, about a ½ inch north of Madison. 7 to 10 day forecast. Those temperatures go up and down. 60s a couple of days, 70s a couple of days. There'll be shower and thunderstorm chances just about every day starting on Friday, off and on through next week. You know, and not continuous rains, but when you don't need any more rain, that's not a good forecast.
All right, Gary, one day at a time.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, with all the complaining about the Packers' offense this past weekend, the defense did just fine. The story coming up in sports.
News
In the National League wildcard game at Wrigley Field, the Rockies and Cubs are tied 1-1 in the bottom of the ninth. Whoever wins will be headed to Milwaukee for the National League Division Series starting Thursday. Game 1 of the NLDS is in Milwaukee Thursday afternoon. It'll be a 4:07 p.m. start at Miller Park. Game 2 will be Friday afternoon with a 3:15 Central start. The first 2 games of the NLDS will be televised on FS1. For Game 3, the Brewers will be on the road Sunday afternoon at 3:37 Central, either at Colorado or Wrigley Field, depending on who wins tonight's wild card game. Last year, former Brewer and Hall of Famer Paul Molitor was named the American League Manager of the Year. Today, the Minnesota Twins fired him as their manager. Molitor still had 2 more years on his contract, so he's owed a little more than $3 million from the Twins. He'll be offered another position within the Twins organization. Badger football is back from its bye week. They'll play Nebraska Saturday night at 6:30 at Camp Randall. The Badgers were hoping to be 4-0 at this point, but that pesky loss to BYU changed that. The good news is they're still undefeated in the Big Ten, 1-0 after that win at Iowa. So did that one loss change the Badgers' perspective for the bye week? Offensive lineman Michael Dieter says, not really.
You use the bye week to look at yourself up to this point and every aspect of the offense, the team, what we need to get better with, what we've done well to this point, and what we need to get better with. And whether you're 0-4, 4-0, 3-1, that's what you use the bye week for. Use the bye week to get better physically, get your body back the best you can, and just really take the time to do some self-scout and figure out what, as a team, you need to get better with.
The Packers get their Tuesday off, then to return to work tomorrow to begin preparations for their trip to Detroit for a noon kickoff Sunday. We've heard the grousing about the Packers offense in the 22-0 win against Buffalo Sunday, but if you want to focus on the positives, how about the Packers defense? It's not often you pitch a shutout in the NFL, but it happened against an offense that had scored 27 points against a pretty good Vikings defense the week before. The Packers defense hopes a shutout can carry over to the weeks ahead.
I think it's big for us. It gives us the energy and the excitement to go out and shoot for the stars again and goose egg Detroit. So, we look forward to building off this momentum and moving forward.
The Prep Media High School football game of the week Friday night will feature Stoughton at Monona Grove. We'll be live from Monona at 7 o'clock Friday night on TVW and channel3000.com. WIA girls sectional golf today, Division II at Pleasant View. Edgewood's Grace Welch has a lot of tournament experience already in her junior season. Put it to good use again today, shooting 80 and leading Edgewood to the team title. Now, Edgerton and Arcadia tied for second, so they had a playoff for the second team spot at state. Arcadia won the playoff by 1 shot. So Edgewood and Arcadia go to state at University Ridge next week. And we'll be right back.
All right, let's go to Gary. One final check of the forecast.
Well, tomorrow the potential is there for some severe weather in the evening, mainly here in Madison, but we'll have to watch out for storms to develop to our north and west and head in our direction. Then we turn cooler for Thursday with a high of 58. Off and on shower and thunderstorm chances just about every day into next week. Some days are in the low 60s and some brief warm-ups into the 70s, then back into the 60s, but rain is the overlying theme there.
Had enough. Gary, thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight for News 3 at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning now.